If you are lucky enough, you are born with hands. You have had your hands throughout your entire life. The way you treat your hands and how you take care of them will stay with you until your dying day. Hands explore and learn. Hands touch and feel. Hands express and communicate. Hands speak. My dad took sign language in college, so when I was a baby, I could sign more and milk before I could talk. As I grew up, I sat and added simple words to my hands' vocabulary like mom, dad, dirty, and various animal words like pig, which I used to insult my teacher, who, turns out, knew sign language better than my 5-year-old self. So, I stopped signing my little words after that, not only because I had been reprimanded, but because you can only casually throw in frog, giraffe, and lion in a limited amount of polite conversations. Sophomore year, I had the opportunity of learning the entire language that had always been in the creases of my fingers. However, in that class, you didn't learn the language. You learned so much more. You learned that American Sign Language was created with the collaboration of Thomas Gallaudet and Lauren Clark, that the first deaf school opened in 1817 because Gallaudet saw a need in Alice Cogswell's face to be taught in a way that she could understand. That ASL was created with the help of students who had been signing their own words at home. That when the Hartford School decided to standardize this new language, that instead of trying to teach deaf kids how to lip read, that it was revolutionary. You learned in the 1880s until the 1960s that ASL wasn't even considered a language, that it was seen as inferior, that the people were seen as inferior, that students would have their hands strapped to their desks so that they couldn't communicate, so that they would be forced to read lips and speak when they hadn't been ever able to hear at all. That class not only taught you to express feelings without saying a word, it taught you that the people you had thought to be handicapped, the people that were unlucky enough to be born without a sense that you had been born with, the people you had thought subconsciously were below you, you learned that those were people too. And just because that they couldn't hear did not mean that they could not speak. And when you were at a loss for words, you